Hello everyone, welcome to Miss Amy's Favorite Things. I'm Amy Eversole, the Adult Services Librarian here at the Perry County Public Library, and today I'm going to show you how to make some Grinch beads. I got this idea from Pinterest and thought it was really cute. So you're going to need some different size beads. You're going to need like the larger, I believe these are about like 16 millimeters, and then a small spacer bead to go on your ends. I started out with a large piece of twine and I began to just add my beads. Of course, they were painted. I'm not going to show you how I painted mine, but what the video and stuff that I saw on here recommended. There's two different ways you could paint them. You basically, I used about 25 beads or 24 for this project, and you're mostly going to do large beads with just two of the smaller beads. And you can get those from any, like a craft store, or you can order online. But when you would, there's a couple different ways. You could put these all on a skewer, and you could take, if you imagine this full, you would leave it about 1 inch in between them. You could take some green paint and just paint them on your skewer and allow it to dry. That's one method of doing your beads. But there is another little hack that you could do, and it's the one I did. A cousin of mine told me about it, and it was also from Pinterest. But you would take like a paper plate or a paper bow, would probably work a little better. I use the plate, but whatever you need to do. But you would take like green paint, put it in your bowl or your plate, take a little bit of water, like a little teaspoon of water, and thin that out, and then you would take and you would just roll your beads around in your bowl or plate and put them on a piece of wax paper to allow them to dry. And then you would, to actually get them out, what makes this little hack a good idea is you just take a little plastic spoon and you would just dip them out. And that method is pretty, you know, it's quicker. It's not as meticulous as sitting and painting every bead. It's a little bit quicker, but it's whatever you want to do. And so you're going to need, of course, a light green paint. I did Christmas green, and that's just what I had on hand, and red paint. And you're going to need some baker's twine, or you could use just regular, almost like a burlap twine. But I will warn you that the thicker your twine, the little bit more difficulty you might have getting it through the holes on your beads. A tip for getting it through is to put some hot glue on the end of your string and begin to beat them through. I struggled with mine a little bit. That's one reason I'm not really showing. But so my hack was, a couple people told me to try the hot glue on the end of the string, and it did seem to help. And I also took a wood skewer and helped it along, and it finally started to go through at a pretty good pace for me for that. I did struggle a little bit like that. So you start by like putting a knot at the end of your string, and I always recommend getting a decent size piece of string, like way much longer than this when you first start. And you can always trim off, you cannot add. So once you got your knot, start with your smallest bead and then come down and put it here, and so just so it won't slip back over your knot and it holds them all in place. Then begin to put them, you know, however you want to pair them, your green and red ratio. And then you're going to attach the tassel on each end. I've done so I'm just going to show you how to do another tassel. So taking your twine, you're going to take and do it around 4 fingers, and you're just going to wrap that like 20 times, or 20 to, I think it's 30 times, 25 to 30. And once you get that, you're just going to cut that, slip it off your fingers, cut it off, And then you're going to take another small piece of twine, or cut it a little extra if you're afraid. That's what I recommend. Start with extra. You can always trim off the excess. But to make your tassel, you're just going to come down, and you might want to put in, like, if you're using a paintbrush, put your paintbrush through your top to hold in place, because you got to thread this back through when you get ready to tie it on your end. And you just tie this into a knot, the top half of it, the top portion, not completely in the knot, and at the half slightly above that. Go back in, hold that place. And then you see how you have one half that's bigger. You still have like a little loop and a big loop. I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to cut that. So now I have a tassel, and of course I'll trim this off. Now I'm ready to put, since I've strung all of my beads and I've got them knotted on this other end too, when you're completely done, you do just like you did before, is you want to put a knot to keep your beads from sliding off until you end with your smaller bead again. You just come and slide that on, and you're just going to knot this off, tie this off again, just so it won't fall off. So now you have another little tassel. I'm just going to trim my top part of it off. Again, I always recommend starting out with a little too much, then a little too less, because you cannot add to, but you can reduce. And if you want your Grinch beads to have a heart on one of your green beads, you can do that with just using a small detail brush, or if you want, you could do a paint pen, which is what I have. I'm better with a paint pen than what I am a small detail brush. But I'm just going to come and pick out a green bead, and I am going to tip to draw my heart on here, and just paint in my heart. And you can do this on just one, or you could do it on multiple of your green beads. But it's small, but it's there. So this, if you're doing any, if you like the Grinch, or your kids or your grandkids like the Grinch, these are just fun to add to your home decorations for the holidays. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial today. Until next time, stay safe.